Hello, my fellow sun-faded trailer park lawn ornaments. I'm Mr. Church. Today I'm going to be looking at the Atomic Angler bundle that isn't from the Atom Shop. This is one that you buy with actual money. It's $29.99 USD. That's $30 plus tax. $30, and you can't buy it with atoms. Since they first introduced these 4 money bundles when the Pit update came out, I've been adamantly opposed to them because I feel like it's a slap in the face to people who support the game, especially those who are already paying for Fallout First. We are paying for atoms every month, and we can't get this bundle with those atoms. We have to spend even more money if we want this stuff. It's also ridiculous if you consider the price of it and what you get in the bundle. So this is what you get in the bundle. You get the prefix and suffix, a fishing rod skin, a power armor skin, a collector that collects bait, 3 camp items that can only be placed in water, and then a massive camp item that can only be placed in water. That's a reskin of something we already have. So you might be wondering, why did I get this bundle if I'm adamantly opposed to these bundles? And the answer to that is one of my patrons reached out and asked if I would review it and donated the funds for me to get it to review it, and I otherwise wouldn't have. So I want to be very upfront about that and very clear about that. That being said, I'm going to show you everything that's in this bundle, and I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't get it. First, we have the prefix and suffix. So, why would you want to be called the Calibori buoy, you might be wondering? That's a great question. Now, to equip the prefix and suffix, as you may probably already know, you go into your Pip-Boy, you tab over to stats, then you go all the way over to the right, where you can pick and choose and mix and match. So then when you're on a team, it will show up next to your name, and people will see it over your head when you're walking around. The thing is, this prefix and this suffix actually don't make any sense to me. And I don't think it's going to be a selling point for this bundle. It's just like some trash they threw in. Why would I want to be named the Contessa Dump? It doesn't make any sense. So I'll move on to the next thing, which is the fishing rod skin. This thing, you can go into your Tinker's Bench if you've done the fishing quest to unlock fishing, and you can equip the skin in here. As you can see, I already have it on. This is what the other ones look like, and this is what this one looks like. It kind of has, like, croquet paint, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it. But this is just something silly you can put on your rod. If you really want your rod to be different, though, there's other things you could try, including different moisturizers and different hygiene habits, okay? Now, when you're fishing, it looks like this. As you can see, you're not really going to be paying attention to the pole as much because you'll be watching the bobber so that you can reel in the 18,000th sunscreen. So the fishing rod skin, that's just whatever in my opinion. And so let's look at the next thing on the list here, and that is the power armor skin. This power armor skin, in my opinion, isn't actually that bad looking. It looks like old deep sea diving outfit kind of, but also different a little bit. It's very chunky and square, but I like how it looks. It doesn't have like really stupid coloring or like dumb branding on it or weird logos or anything like that. I like the design of it, but here's the problem, guys. This is maybe the only thing in this bundle, besides maybe the collecting device, that I would say, this would make me want to buy it, but here's the problem. So in the pictures that they've shown, including on the front page when you open the game, and in the promotional art, they have a very clear picture of someone in power armor fishing. So they have that, then they give you a 4 money bundle that's related to the update where you get a power armor skin. So the assumption that you'll make is probably that you can fish in power armor. However, you cannot fish in power armor, and when you try, it doesn't work. It says you can't. So you can call this an oversight. You can also call it lazy, but you could also call it predatory. It really depends on how optimistic of a person you are, but the reality is, yet again, they don't give a fuck, and that's what it comes down to. And that's really disgusting, and it's repulsive and repugnant, and every time they do stuff like this, it just boils my blood a little bit warmer. And the fact that it's in a 4 money bundle as well just pisses me off even more. Now, I also want to add that this skin doesn't come with its own jetpack, so you're going to have to find one that matches it. I'm just using the Union jetpack, but it doesn't really go with it. You might have one that matches better, but some skins come with a jetpack and some don't. This one does not come with a jetpack skin, so your jetpack is not going to match what you have here. Now let's talk about the rest of the stuff. In the bundle, we have the camp items. The first one I'm going to talk about is the collector, because this one might be one of the reasons you're going to want to buy this bundle. And that's fair enough. It can be hard to get bait while you're fishing a lot. You can get bait in-game by doing public events. You can get 1 to 3, I believe. And you can do 3 public events an hour unless you're server hopping and catch a few extras. So that's 3 to 9 improved bait per hour, which isn't that great. But you can also get them doing caravans, which you can do a lot faster. And so you don't need this if you want to get the extra improved bait. When you have this, you can go around and place it in all the workshops, of course, and so you can have a bunch of them running at the same time. You can go around and collect everything that way. The reason why I want to caution you against getting this bundle for money for this reason is because they did something like this in the past. Currently, this is the only way that you can collect improved bait in the game, outside of doing the things I mentioned, of course. And so it's kind of an exclusive item, yeah? And it's in a 4 money bundle. The reason why I think that's shitty, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is people that are already spending money on a monthly or yearly basis to support the game are paying for Fallout First, and they get with that atoms every month. Now, when you get these atoms, you can then spend the atoms on stuff in the shop. That's part of the reason why people get Fallout First. However, you can't get this stuff with those atoms because this isn't available for atoms. So there is a difference between it being sold for atoms or being sold for just money, even though a lot of people do have to spend money to buy atoms. That isn't the case for everybody. And so it kind of is a slap in the face to people that are already supporting the game in that way. And it's really shitty. So what makes this even more shitty is they've done this before. In the very first 4 money bundle that they ever added, at least as far as I can remember, they had a fusion core recharging machine. At the time, this was the only way that you could recharge fusion cores outside of a legendary perk and getting shot with lasers. But that's not really a charging device. And so it was a utility item that was unique, and that was the only way you could get it, was to spend actual money. The problem with that is later they put it in the shop for atoms, and it actually has been in the shop quite a bit since then in different bundles, and you can get it for atoms. Now, someone was bitching at me one time because I pointed this out, and they said that I was the shithead for saying that people should be paying for that with their money because I had to. And that isn't obviously remotely what I was saying. What I was saying is the implication that something that's unique is the only way you can get it is by spending money, and then to have that not be the case later when that was one of the reasons why people chose to buy it is it's shitty. It's predatory marketing, and it's just spitting on your consumers yet again, as you like to do on a weekly basis. So my point is, even though this is currently the only way to collect improved bait, it's very likely that in the future they will add this to the Atom Shop or something like it that will do the same thing. So you will have made the decision to spend 30 of your real life money, $30, for no reason, when you could have waited and got it for atoms that you're already paying money for. So that's my cautionary tale there. If you want to go ahead and buy it, that's of course your choice, but don't say I didn't warn you when the improved bait collector comes into the item shop later. Now for the other camp items, this is a little bit more simple. We have 3 small floor decor items, even though they can't be placed on the floor and they can only be placed in the water. This buoy thing is really tiny. I don't really care for it. It's kind of too small to do anything with, and it can only be placed on the water, which means it's kind of even less visible and obvious. The round buoy is fine, I think, and I actually do like the life preserver. I wish that there was one that you could put on the land too, because what if I want to put some life preservers on my boat or on my dock or whatever? That's kind of annoying. They could have given us a version of each. And speaking of which, here comes the big one, and this one really, really pisses me off. Okay, we have the Contessa, okay? This is a reskin of the boat that we already have called the Bulwark. The Bulwark is the boat, if you remember, that can't be placed in the water. It has to be placed on the land. It's the exact same boat, it's just different colors, and there's a few buoys on the Contessa that are not on the Bulwark. Otherwise, it's the exact same boat. The difference is the Contessa can be placed on water for once, as you might imagine a boat would be placed, and the Bulwark cannot. So, if you're paying attention at home, guys, because they can't figure out how to make something be placeable on land and on water, which I kind of understand, because, like, where would the snapping point be if you were, like, because it would be trying to be placed underwater and on water at the same time. I get that, but you can have two different versions of it, as they show here. So what they could have done originally is given us the Bulwark that could be placed on land and one that could be placed on water. Instead, what they did was they gave us a boat that can't be placed on the water, so that a few months later, they could sell you a boat that can be placed on the water, the same boat, only this time it's for $30 fucking. And that is just laughably evil. So, that's so interesting. And here's where things get even more interesting. The difference between the Bulwark and the Contessa, mostly, is that this one can actually be placed on water. However, the developers have teased that potentially, in the future, as early as this fall, we could be getting relaxed building restrictions in adventure mode. If they don't do this, there's probably going to be rioting because they implied it too heavily already. And so my point is, if we can float stuff and place stuff wherever, then there's going to be no difference between the Bulwark and the Contessa, because we'll be able to place them both on land and on water by simply floating them as you can in a custom world. So if you want to get this bundle because you have a boat that can actually be placed on the water for once, don't even bother. It's not really going to be worth it. Something you can do is you can actually place the Bulwark on top of items that can be placed in the water if you want to put it in the water, and that's just something you could try doing instead of spending your mom's money, as I did. I hope you found this video helpful and illuminating, and I also want to give a big shout out to Decorative Donut for for putting me on to this. Thanks so much, thanks a lot, and for funding, of course, this terrible situation that we found ourselves in. And I also want to give a big shout out to the rest of my patrons and channel members for your support. If it wasn't for your support, I wouldn't be able to be making all these videos, and I really do truly appreciate it. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, the link for that will be in the description. I also stream on Twitch, the link for that is in the description, and there's also a Discord server that you could join if you really wanted to, and the link for that is in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.